It's 6:01, and we'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is public comments. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, directors are prohibited from acting on or discussing any new items brought before them at this time. Citizens' comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments about any of the agenda items are appreciated by the board of directors and may be taken into consideration at this time or during the agenda item. Please complete a public input form if you desire to address the board. All remarks and questions addressed to the board should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to any individual member thereof. Antonio Santiago.
Mine was just kind of like a cleanup area from 1385 to Fifth Track. There's a bunch of like broken construction signs, for sale signs for houses. Since that new Costco went up, it's just on both sides of 1385 going to Fifth Track. If that can be like cleaned up because it's kind of dilapidated, and we're about to have a whole lot of influx coming to Costco. So that's my only complaint.
Okay, thank you. Chief Giovanni.
I just wanted to compliment President Mike Perry and Dale Jenks and the rest of the Artesia people for getting that bridge put up. Drove past it the other day, and the tight fit there. It's a good thing you got the railing from there. It's hard to imagine there not being any railing. So good job with that.
Well, thank you. Board helped with that. To give credit there too. Thank you. Do I have any more public comments? We just got one more. Bill James.
All right, so I sent you guys a file. I'm not sure if you guys got it. You got it printed off on paper if you guys want it. Basically, it's just going over. I would like to kind of on a monthly basis or maybe a quarterly basis, just kind of give you guys a snapshot of like some of the needs of our community. So to your point, Keith, I guess the initial first one is just saying thank you for the putting up the handrail. We've got quite a few comments from the community basically saying thank you. We definitely feel like it definitely helps protect the kids from the traffic. So if you go left to right, on the right side is basically the before and after kind of putting salt on the bridge. The first freeze, you can kind of see where there was really iced up because water pools in that location. So thank you for actually putting salt on the bridge. And to the right of that is basically a picture of like what it looked like, if you put salt down. So it definitely helped clean that area up and kind of make it safe. Underneath that, to the left is basically just things that we need help with. So I think we kind of took a tour around on the left-hand side. There's water that just pools right in front of that drain on Artesia Boulevard. Like, doesn't matter whether it's a heavy rain, soft rain. I think the overflow from the pool also drains out in that area as well. So you just have constant water there. So any help that we can get with that area and getting it drained properly would be greatly appreciated.
Dale, is that section that's just south of the bridge?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So to the right of that, I think is my biggest concern. So there was another post on Facebook as far as a kid almost getting hurt at that crosswalk right in front of the bridge. I kind of deleted out their name and all that other stuff. I don't know if that really matters, but we need to do something about it. Also, you'll see on the right-hand side, that entire strip of Artesia Boulevard, it's 30 miles an hour. I really think the interior of Artesia needs to be 25 no matter where you're at. I think that's one thing that will help, but me being a Toyota person, I think of safety first. So we really need to, one, try and figure out, can we reduce it to 25? And then does it make sense to move that sidewalk? I don't know. So I think that's something I'd like to help challenge you guys with and kind of figure out whether that's something that we can do or not. Anyway, I don't know if I if this helps on a monthly basis or if maybe something quarterly or something like that. I mean, I just kind of want you guys to see what's going on in our neighborhood. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comments? Do I have a motion to close public comments?
I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 2, consent agenda. Directors, have you had a chance to review all the items on the consent agenda?
I appreciate the comment on the minutes. Awesome.
Any questions?
No.
Have a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Yeah, I'll make a motion like Jonathan mentioned, we kind of kick the minutes around via email, so just approve them, I think we're good.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 3, adopt a resolution concerning exemptions from taxation.
Yeah, so I sent you guys an email, kind of just explaining the process, that's, for the audience. The district has the ability to grant 2 exemptions. They can have the general homestead exemption, which applies to anybody that has a homestead qualification on their house. Cities and counties are ones, and school districts that grant that, not necessarily water districts. We don't have the commercial base, the commercial property tax, to make up for the loss in revenue from a general homestead exemption. So what you'd be looking at there is if you granted a homestead exemption to everybody, then the tax rate would have to, kind of be adjusted in order to make up that revenue. So that's the first one. And then the second one is the over 65 disabled exemption. Now, this is not disabled veterans. Those are completely separate and granted exemptions by the state. This is more of a persons with disabilities. So over the years, the district has increased that number, and right now it's a $40,000 exemption was what was granted last year. And in your packet, you'll see just this analysis that your financial advisor put together, showing you here's what the average home value was, which each of these exemptions going up by $540,000, which results in $27 million loss of value and 240,000 loss of revenue for the district. There are 682 people that have or claim this exemption. And then it goes from 45,000, 50,000, 55,000, just showing you how that impacts your value, how it impacts your lost revenue, and how each person, that gets the exemption saves money and how much it grants them over those amounts. So this is the time of year where you consider taking those exemptions. You are the highest that we have this district. You're the highest exemption that I have as far as my districts go. It's a generous exemption, but I'll leave it up to you guys. I know I probably won't go down, but if you do, you can't go down below 3,000. Once you have that exemption in place, it has to always be at least 3,000.
Very good. Directors, you had a chance to consider this. We currently give a 40,000, so that's 40,000 we take off their assessed value. So we don't pay taxes on 40,000 on just the Elm Ridge piece. It doesn't affect their school tax. It doesn't affect their county tax. And this lines out what the net cost to us is. It's $240,000 in taxes that we don't get because we're given the exemption.
Yeah, I'd make a motion just to roll this forward with the 40,000.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. One dissenting.
I'm not gonna give up on my homestead. I get what you're saying, but I'm not coming back to that. I guess that's more of a tax rate discussion, but
Discussion regarding status of Aubrey Fire.
So I did send you guys this morning. I received comments back from Aubrey's attorney on our direct agreement. Gave you guys kind of a summary of those changes. I think this is something that we should table and go into closed session to talk about just because of the legal negotiations that we're going on here. So if you guys are okay with that, I think we should table it and then go into closed session.
We need a motion.
Yes, please.
To have a motion to table item 4 for executive session.
I'll make that motion.
For a second.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 5, discussion regarding district board meetings in Artesia in April 2025.
I can kind of take the lead on that one. We have been invited by Dale, his new general manager Sloan, and their HOA board to host this meeting at their clubhouse in April. I think that would be an excellent idea since our building will be in the process of moving in, but probably not ready for a public meeting to be held. That will give us time to get the technology and everything tied up and ready before we're using that in May. So I don't believe, Allison, correct me if I'm wrong, we added the Artesia Clubhouse. We did?
Yes.
Okay, remind, we did. But I just want to make sure that. Okay, okay, fantastic. So I just want to make sure that's okay with all of you. I think it's a good time to give the residents a chance to see you all too in the board meetings. So
I think the only issue I have is we talked about doing a meeting in Savannah. We decided that this was more convenient in Savannah. So now we're doing a meeting in Artesia. Should we also do a meeting in Savannah? Should we keep it here? I feel like we have to be somewhat fair about it.
We're going to meet in Savannah forever after this. Right?
Right. But I'm saying at the HOA, right?
I think Savannah, but we had a time complex with them because didn't we try for the December meeting and they had the HOA meeting there.
They changed their meeting, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we did try.
I would. I agree with you, but it's I mean, after this, we're have our
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna meet in Artesia, I feel like we have to at least extend that courtesy. And Arrowbrook doesn't have a clubhouse, so
Mhm.
I would at least try to make that work.
I have a motion.
I'll make the motion to have our April 2025 board meeting in Artesia.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Very good.
I abstained, I guess. I didn't take a side.
Okay. Thank you. Item 6, discussion regarding use of scooters and other transportation methods.
So we talked about this before, but it came up the last meeting, you guys wanted to talk about it, so just kind of wanted to run through the kind of just general laws which relation to the scooters. So Texas Transportation Code allows for scooters on sidewalks, roads, paths, motor assisted scooters, unless a municipality or a county prohibits. As we talk about with all of our traffic laws, whether it's speeds or traffic laws, we don't have the authority to adopt those. And so we have to go through the county to do it. And so we could go to the county and ask them to adopt a rule that there are no scooters, electric scooters allowed on sidewalks, paths, or any of that. E-bikes, they are allowed, and there's not really the same language with regard to scooters that there is. They're not considered a motor vehicle. Transportation code says no motor vehicle sidewalks. It specifically excludes e-bikes, and so those are allowed on sidewalks.
They both are.
They both are.
If I just understood what you think, they
Yes.
both for different, they're classified slightly differently, but
Yes, but scooters, I guess the point is scooters are the only ones where the statute actually gives the ability to prohibit them. But
okay.
Prevent them from the sidewalk.
prohibit them from the sidewalk trails, the electric motor assisted scooters.
So by prohibiting them, you would push them into the street.
Right. I'm not sure you can lie.
They're just so powerful and so fast. It terrifies me. See, and the post heat up, my big realization on this was right after Christmas, we had really nice weather and it seemed like they had doubled or tripled. They were everywhere. Like, oh boy, this is going to be 2.0 this spring. We've had some other nice weather since it hasn't been too bad. Not too much on Facebook, anything else, but this needs to be handled at the state level. I think it's so we do have problems going in the spring. What we can do is enforce traffic laws. And that seemed to work pretty well
Right.
the last time we did it. It did in our teachers. Not everybody liked it, but for the most part they did. So I guess we play it for now. See how spring unfolds. They had talked about reflective stickers. We could give out reflective stickers. Is that something there? That's another thing. I'm a cyclist, and if I ride on the roads, I have a flashing light always because I want to be seen. These kids, you can't see them long. Some of those things have them, some of them don't. It just concerns me.
I guess I'm not understanding the issue though. Are we having kids that are bowling people over on sidewalks, or what is the issue we are trying to solve here?
My biggest concern is running into one because they just dart out. They don't obey traffic. They run stop signs. They're just it's. I don't know what the answer is. Do you?
I mean, I think part of the problem is you're trying to solve for something that's an issue in every single community, in every single municipality across the nation. And I don't think it's something we can solve. I mean, you know, people are going to be people, and unfortunately, no matter what you do for some of this stuff, you've got people that are going to ride those scooters that are going to bowl people over no matter what your laws are. They're going to try to. They're going to run out in front of the street, and they're not going to obey the traffic laws. You get it with adults with cars that do the same thing. And so I don't think this is something that we can solve right now, because this is something every community in the nation is trying to grasp and has some of the same concerns.
You're right.
Prosper did share with us a flyer that they put out on communications on Facebook and website, and it mirrors exactly what Jonathan was explaining, especially with the miles per hour, what's allowed where, and they push that on social media. We can do the same.
Yeah.
We did the same thing early on when the police department first started with golf carts. That was an issue in Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did had a flyer and it went out all the time. And then we don't have those issues really in Savannah.
I mean, I'm fine with the social media push, but I think other than that, that's
all I
about,
can really do.
yeah, that's about all you can do.
I guess I haven't really seen that. It's
I've
motorized
seen that.
scooter. They drive real fast.
I almost got hit by one actually in Savannah not long ago, but I mean, it's just,
They hit you. I almost hit you.
yeah.
Uh,
So, but I was walking my dogs and they almost hit me. So, I mean, but there's not much, I hate to say it, there's not much you can really do.
public service, public.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about pushing scooter kids into the roadway. That doesn't sound like it's a win.
I mean, other than, we can continue to enforce the traffic laws and things like that, do that, monitor the traffic laws that we can monitor.
In the spring, we do the bike rodeo. You see those block out. They historically haven't been heavily attended. That's something that we have on social media push a longer period of that. And when we do the one in Artesia this spring, make that focus on education. That's what this is, it's an education issue. We just need to exercise that.
Maybe make it a bike and scooter rodeo.
I don't want to do it. See these things myself, but
There are go-karts. I've seen a few of those around too.
Is this on the Artesia Bridge? Is that where the main concern is?
Through the whole.
I was gonna say, I wonder if we got some fancy poles that are like caution, put it up so the scooter kids would at least see it before they darted out into the traffic or something.
Just taking a position as a district of public outreach. I don't know that there's anything we can do legally at all. It's just kind of a scary
Really.
problem.
And I mean, not only is there not really anything you can do, if you Google scooter incidents across the nation, you'll probably come up with like 10,000 of them in a matter of seconds.
Any action?
no.
I make a motion to table this.
Item 7, the engineers report.
Well, you made a motion to take.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Item 7 is the engineer's report.
So Catherine, we said to you, yeah, Catherine sent out the report. If you could be on the agenda, you gonna talk about it or?
If you want to, go right ahead.
So it looks like there's just the two bids.
Things, there's no invoices, applications to approve. The artesian water system, everything that says in the report, anticipated CCQ approval this month. Advertised for bids in April and hopefully start construction in May. We're talking about the upgrades to the artesian system, the water tank, and better pump station. The district water line, we are still working on easements. We can talk about an agenda item for that. That we'll probably also talk about in closed session, based on our discussions with Prosper and Debt ISD. There's that, and then the Arrowburg parking lot, 60% plans to be submitted in March. That's the extent of my engineering report.
And then the Hartsfield Marietta Road separate. I think she had 3 choices to choose there.
Sorry, I misspoke there. Yes, so there's that separating from the bridge. She says that it's not a structural issue. It's more just cosmetic. And so she has 3 different fixes for it that she's gonna bring prices for, right? I believe, she said. So,
And what was the report on Arrowbrook Park you said?
the parking lot expansion, they're still working on plans. So they should have the plan 60% complete in March.
Have a motion to accept the engineer's report.
I'll make a motion. Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Item 8. Author's report regarding artesian utility system.
Good evening, board members. First page, we have 31, this shows 31 days of production. We're doing both pump stations. We pumped out 12.1 million gallons. Second page is Harper Road pump hours. At the bottom, they show to be relatively the same. Till Parkway pump station hours, generator hours, or pumping hours. I'm sorry. Can be the same for the most part. Next page. We have the Harper Road until Parkway storm residuals, foot levels, and daily pressures. Everything was okay. 6 back T coliform results from the lab. Everything was fine.
In the back T results, normally it's checked whether there's absent, present, or anything like that found, but those are all blank. The absent, present check boxes, nothing's checked there, even though it has the lab sample ID numbers.
Yeah,
All 3 of those reports, and I was wondering why.
this is a copy directly from my technician who takes the samples.
Okay,
The getting results from the lab, it's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't. I do call, or she does have a number. She calls me if there's any bad news. But it was, when she don't call, it's fine.
okay.
Do you operate under no news?
Yeah, she made that clear in the beginning. But no, whenever there is an issue, she has my direct number. She calls me and she told me we address it. But everything was good.
So one more question, we maintain those reports
Yes.
for audits and stuff? So shouldn't we go back in and check whether or not there was anything in there absent, present, or whatever? Because otherwise you have an incomplete form for an audit.
Yeah, we're required to build by law.
Exactly. So shouldn't we go back in and notate whether or not there was anything noted in those samples?
We can always request the documents that shows the absent marks on there, check marks on there.
Yep.
And also the TC Drinking Water Watch has every single record on the files.
and it showed every sample taken since your system was put in operations.
Okay.
You can actually search your water system, your points of contacts, your facility addresses, what pumps you have there.
I'm just saying from a documentation standpoint, compliance standpoint, normally if you have a form and it's signed off on, it's supposed to be a completed form.
It seems like they ought to check after
Yeah.
the
If
president.
it's not a completed form during an audit, a lot of times, even if that data is someplace else, it becomes an issue during an audit. And it's always been filled out previously. That's
Like
why I'm
you
asking.
didn't catch it, you know, yeah, at the time you didn't catch it, and you approved it anyway, that's the worry.
No, the worry is if somebody comes in and audits, even though you have this backup data that's available to TCEQ through the websites and all that, if you ever have a completed form and it's signed off on as a part of an audit trail, normally part of that audit trail dictates that the form should be completed and that if you don't have results or something in there, then it should be disclosed on the form why you don't have results. If that's not what TCEQ does, then my recommendation would be to download the results and attach them to the form. Because if we're going to maintain the forms, now you have an incomplete form, which during a typical audit, documentation audit is an issue. And this is the first time I've actually seen that in my time with the board where that hasn't been completed.
Yeah, and then most times, TCQ, you know, they go by the records of a digital water watch. So that's where the report comes from. So they look at that as far as historical values of that. We can always request those copies though, so within the file though.
Okay.
Definitely easy enough.
I can work on that Monday. Yeah, I might have some of them, but.
I just bring that up because I've done a lot of documentation audits.
Okay. Yeah, I can work on it Monday. I'll call it from getting lab. Next page, it's a generators, report, for Harper Road and Teal. They all ran their, weekly tests and everything, is fine with them. We inspect them, once a week, check the fuel levels in an hour, make sure they're running. In the water division and the work orders, we had 31 days of daily inspections at pump stations and water towers. 31 daily chlorine residual checks, 1 line locate, 2 pump station maintenances, and 1 customer request to turn the water off. We submitted the water use survey to the Texas Water Board for PCQ compliance. In the meter division, we had 10 non-payments, reconnects, 14 non-payment disconnects, 1 check for leak, 1 door hanger, 12 new occupancy start reads, 6 service disconnects, 7 service reconnects, 2 verify meter endpoint data, and 3 water meter accuracy checks.
Where are we with the blue water meter?
We just spoke about that earlier. I asked Chris about it, and I think we're gonna have a meeting.
We have a meeting scheduled on March 4th to go through all the data, look at the different types of meters and discuss which budget goes within the 2 guys.
I'm glad that you want to have our current meter supplier Badger there.
Yes.
If we're free the meeting, you can kind of give us a rundown of what we can use in the meantime versus a whole change out. So we can do in the meantime, that can do both systems.
That'd be perfect. So maybe we don't have to replace every one of them. They did have 58 rereads this month for everyone's report.
Okay.
I did have a question on those remote readers. I had a resident give me an earful about remotely accessing her water, being able to shut off her water, all of that. Is that something that you guys would be able to do remotely with a smart meter?
No, there will be no.
This system, our division in Salina actually has a model to do that. The one issue is it's a fully composite meter plastic. The ground shifts so much here, they will turn it off with the ground movement. But they actually have a remote valve in there. You turn it off, push the button. So it's nice, but they're about $609 a piece.
And these are just remote read versus it'll turn on and off.
Yeah.
That may make her feel better. I'll go back with that information. Thank you.
Although you could let her know her electric company can do the same thing.
Yes.
Any questions, comments?
Very good. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the operator's report?
I'll make a motion to accept the report pending, the changes Scott mentioned.
I have a second.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 9, discussion regarding use of Arrowbrook Park. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, so this was just on here because the board had asked, for an agenda item to discuss this. We did have a meeting with, community sports, with regard to their use of the park, discussing challenges that they face. Both with use of the park, parking, the concerns of the residents, and just kind of these overall, and let's all be on the same page before, sports season starts. And so, I was on the phone, but I don't know how you guys left it. I think they were going to provide us kind of a list of, or a list of, hey, this is exactly what they do every time they use the field. This is the steps that they take, the procedures they take, marking the fields, emptying trash, using the concession area, whatever all of that is. We're trying to get that all in one document to figure that out. That way we can get whatever agreement we're going to have with them tidied up to where everybody knows exactly what everybody else is supposed to be doing if it really. You were there, correct?
Mhm.
Scott, you were there too, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
And I did send over the summary that Leanne, the administrative assistant, provided, kind of what their day looks like with the park. Specifically, and we have the president here as well, so if we'd like to chime in at any point if I'm wrong. Specifically, some issues they ran into before would be that the trash cans are full before they arrive on Saturday. So that would be something that the maintenance position would need to check on Fridays to make sure those were empty for usage. There have been issues with people other than 380 having keys or access to the concession stand, even though it's been locked. Some items have gone missing. We are currently buying toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies for the restrooms there. They tidy everything, but we send maintenance in to clean it. They do take trash and empty it, but of course maintenance needs to do a sweep. They don't maintain like the gazebo area at all. They don't use that. All of that being said, I know you guys have asked in the past to see the contract, the original contract that everybody was working off of. There was not a fully executed contract that anyone was working off of. Jonathan had drafted one, it had gone to 380. I think you guys said you actually signed off on it and it was sent back and they never received a fully executed copy. And we've not been able to find that the board would have approved. And so we need to discuss terms to put one together so that we can operate into the future on that. So it really was a verbal working agreement with the prior general manager and 380 of, times, their arrival times, end times, what supplies were being used, that sort of thing. And am I missing anything important?
Yeah,
The other issue with the other leagues that are also using the park.
issue is the agreement you're talking about was from 2017. We all signed and then we returned to Pro. So we never followed up to get returns. They could get one, but on the other issue, the main issue is when we are preparing the field for Saturday, getting the amount of traffic and other teams that are using it. We do not allow any of our teams to practice on those fields during the week, because if we practice them during the week and then try to use them on the weekends, they can try. So we do not allow any of our teams to practice on there. There's a lot of teams that do practice there, from people that live in Arrowbrook. Maybe 1 or 2 people on the team. They bring the entire team up. The teams that bring over are select teams. We are competitive rec. We are rec, competitive rec. We are not select. So we are providing a low cost option for up to 500 kids, 400 to 500 kids per season that all live in this area. And we provided the list of the schools that they go to and everything. So you guys have that data now. We provided that data to the previous general manager every year. So there's an ongoing discussion every year. Here's our list, here's everything, here's what it is, because one of the biggest concerns from the beginning was that we're putting select teams together and allowing them to play on a field that we're not paying for, even though we are at the expense of maintaining it as far as the lines and the trash and the daily labor and things like that.
So to that point, I would recommend in this discussion that number one, we come up with an agreement to work with Reed Sports, a written agreement that Jonathan can help us draft and we can send over and negotiate. Two, I would also recommend that we have an agreement if there are actual leaks, which we've yet to get in touch with anybody that's officially using it with contact information. We do have 2 to 3 that had made payments previously for renting the space over the last few years. So we're trying to track down the contact information to get in touch with them. But I recommend that we have kind of a broad template if somebody's going to use it for another league such as that we can decide on as a board, you can decide on. And also some type of calendar that we can highly recommend, and I know the board's discussed it, putting it on the website that shows park is in use on Saturday by 380, on Sunday it's a birthday party for the Bland family, whatever, so that the public can see that the rates that we decide that need to be used, if you want to apply rates to park usage, all of that online, so that could be fair and transparent with everyone. Recommendations.
So one of the things that I was thinking, because of what we're dealing with, is there'd be a lot to discuss in the meeting, and I'm almost thinking that we have a committee of a couple of board members that would work with Jonathan and Jennifer on putting together what that contract to work with 380 would look like, and then submit to them for approval after we put it together. So I know their season in discussions is getting ready to start in a fairly timely manner, and but then also Jonathan, like Jennifer said, go through our records and make sure. I know we're contacting the other leagues, seeing if we have any files of contracts at the other leagues that we can find that have been fully executed. This way here we can review that as well at the same time, because if there's other leagues on it, we want to be able to execute those contracts across the board with the leagues that are paying rent. So it would be my recommendation that we put together a committee, and I would motion, since we started on it already, that Felicia and myself can work on with Jennifer on putting together, or working with Jonathan and Jennifer on putting together the lease agreement.
It seems like it cuts across multiple committees, because you have finance has to process the money, you have communication, which has the calendar, and then you've got the actual negotiation of the contract. So there's a lot of moving parts here.
There is. It's going to come to the board at the end of the day for final approval. Well, we can approve it. We'd have to set up otherwise we'd have to set up a special meeting to approve it as a.
Yeah, I'm okay with him taking point on working with 380. I think what we need to figure out here is who else is allowed to use the park and when, and that's what I'm hearing here is we've got other, is there open play, and if a select team wants to just drop in and use the park, is that okay or not? Like, we need park rules.
We do.
Yeah.
And that's in Felicia and I court. We had taken that away several months back and never gotten to it yet.
So what are the two committees? Scott and Felicia were just for 380 sports, and you two guys are the park committee. Okay.
I think we changed it to green.
Park and green belt, yeah. I did have a question for you, Jennifer. You made a comment in passing about somebody else was getting in there with keys. Like, do we know who all has keys, or?
We were operating under the assumption that 380 had keys and that Bucky, as the maintenance provider at the time, had keys. But 380 told us in the meeting that someone has taken their coffee maker.
Yeah, answer that question. So the cricket team that said they had an agreement. That's one of our issues, is the way they set up. They actually moved bleachers out of the way. We set the bleachers up. Unless you want to do it on a Saturday morning or a Friday night where you get ready for Saturday play, is to move bleachers, because it takes several people to move them.
They don't put them back?
They did not put them back. So my suggestion, and the other league that has the key is the adult soccer team that meets out there at 7 o'clock on Saturday mornings. And trashes our 14 field before we even have a chance to play on it.
So I'm going to amend my motion, and I know I talked to Jennifer about it, that also that we change the locks out immediately. And we change out the locks, and then we implement a check-in, check-out system for the key.
Can we get a smart key? I know some of those have where they work off of your phone and you have to go through hurdles to set up the phone access. So
I think we could probably do something like that as long as we, provided for a not to exceed limit on the locker placement. So we could do something like that. You can get any kind of smart lock as long as you do not exceed X amount of dollars.
yeah, and then people can't copy that. It's very different. So
But when is the start date of 380 Sport? Is there an official start date?
We have, within the next 3 weeks, we'll have games started.
The other league start at the same time? Do the other league start at the same time?
They run it pretty much year round.
Yeah, they've been.
If you go out there pretty much day night at 5:30, you'll see the cricket organization. And then you'll see the other teams that are coming in from Frisco and Plano that are, why they're coming from Plano, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some from Frisco. I have some numbers going on in game.
So,
Be like to share.
so let's say not more than as far as the motion. So we're gonna have the committee change the locks, and I'll amend that one more time to say no more than $300 to replace for a smart lock if we can find one.
Okay. Do I have a second to Scott's motion?
So you'll need locks on 3 different, you'll need the bathroom, the storage, and the concession.
All right, so let's make that 500 then, since it's 3 locks.
That'd be cool.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, we can get smart locks we should get,
Exterior, interior can be.
yeah.
yeah, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Park committee rules that, and who can use the park? I mean, there's some work to do here, right?
Yeah, Jonathan actually sent us, last year at some point, the rules for Meridian, I wonder it was. And if you click around, I was able to get to, it's like Plano manages their website for the park, where you can actually go in there and reserve the park and pay for it right there. So that's what we started discussing in the finance committee, is possibly doing that, so that then we have a record of payments as well, because we've been told that we've received payments for things and we haven't. So this way it'll be all in one place. It's electronic. You can't say, oh, I dropped it off then and it went missing. So I think that's probably where we'll end up.
I think it'll also be good for residents that like that area to know and be able to see the calendar and see what's going to be used and what's not going to be used.
And that's what we developed, part of why we developed the calendar on the website, for those kinds of events, and we just haven't utilized it yet, but it's there already.
And then also some signage, we talked about that, which is for issues, contacts, blah, blah, blah. And
Because there's nothing there that says it's Elm Ridge. There's Arrowbrook Park, so then people think that it's Arrowbrook HOA maintained, so then our HOA gets bombarded with, there's a party there. It's like, not us.
So we need something that says, please contact Elm Ridge.
Yes.
I would suggest also on the sign to just link back to the website with the QR code, because if you list rules, then anytime you change the rules, you have to change the sign, and that becomes a real hassle.
Yeah. And I think the thing we got to realize when we do is there's going to be some policing of it, but the thing that is for leagues and stuff that want to play there, we can block that out as long as they reserve in advance, but everybody's got to realize during the week and everything else, it's not for leagues and stuff. And we had that discussion in the meeting that it's never going to be a perfect field, because we're not going to prevent the public from utilizing the field, because it's an Elm Ridge amenity. So the public's going to use it, but we can do some policing to prevent leagues and stuff that shouldn't be there from being there.
That definitely needs to be part of the policies.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get you guys something in the next one.
You ready for this item?
Well, you sent the main thing. a while back, because I had commented like things that I thought we should include.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we'll bring it up at the meeting, and then I think it turned into Brandon and I would do it.
Are you talking about the
So,
rules?
yeah.
Well, I'm talking about that, but I'm also talking about what
Other
other draft
contracts.
agreements.
Okay.
If they're gonna start soon, I'd like to get that, places around
Yeah.
later. And we can tie that into the rules and website.
Okay.
That'll work.
Item 10, discussion regarding Artesia Bridge improvements. So with the handrail, that's great. Everybody's happy with that. We just have an unfinished concrete wall. Wopac finally got back to me right before the meeting and just sent me some pictures of stucco. He gave us a bid with stucco it, and that would probably be nice. And I know what stucco looks like. So he didn't really give me a good rendering to share with you. But in talking with Jennifer, she had some other ideas too. Isn't that where we landed? You'd like to take this and
I would, yes. I
Great.
think there's a few other stucco of scooters and bikes, and kids can scrape that off kind of easily, but there are some other boarded with rock on the outside sort of things. So we can just price check and compare and see what would be more durable.
so I got some options. It's fine. It just is unsightly. It needs to be finished. So table it for this month and we'll put it back on the agenda next month. 11, discuss status of acquisition of easements.
I'd like to put that on to close session. Sir.
All right. Item 12.
Do we need to make a motion to add that to our closed session agenda?
Yes, if you want to table that to do that, you can. But you don't technically have to add it to your closed session agenda. We will cite the items that we're going to closed session for when we do. But, it's, if you want to make it clear, you can.
I'll just make a motion that we table that to the closed session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 12, discuss status of alternate capacity requirement application.
So we did approve, Freeze and Nichols to do this. We're looking at completed application by, next week. Then they'll run it through us and run it through your engineer, and then hopefully get it submitted at the end of March. And that is to get the alternate capacity requirement for the RCA water systems, not buying more water. So we'll keep you updated on that. And I did update the TCEQ on that, and so they're standing down what we're.
Okay. Item 13, approved change of utility billing remittance address for Artesia customers.
That's me too. First of all, I would like to say, in getting started and researching what's happening and meeting with the city of Salina, I'm extremely impressed with how they're handling our utility billing. So very, very good decision to allow them to operate the system. Their team is pretty great. So I know you were all aware that there seems to be a delay in the payments that come to our office, getting them over to Artesia. There is a drop box. And so the standard procedure that we've been operating off of is any payments that come into our office are put into a locked bag. The locked bag is driven over to the Artesia clubhouse and put in the drop box. Artesia customers can also place their payments in the drop box. The lag is not as I thought it was after talking with the team. It's not residents coming into our office and handing in checks. It's the bill pay checks that are being mailed to our district because the billing statement says remit payments to the district, not to Salina. So with Mustang, the way we do Savannah and Arrowbrook, the payments go directly to Mustang. They're billed directly to them. And those bill pays, it's also a little deceiving. When you pay it from your bank, you think they take the funds out immediately, but they also issue a paper check. They print it, they mail it, but they'll hold a stack and you can get an envelope of 30 or 40 checks at a time. So those checks, the funds may have come out of your bank account Monday, but it's not hitting the mail until Friday, and it's not getting to us until the next Wednesday, and then it's going to Dropbox. So the delay there is the mail issue. So the easiest fix for all of that would be to change the statement on the bill that says mail payments to the city of Salina to their utility billing address, and they can immediately process the payments. That would be the simplest fix. And then if on the off chance someone walks in with the payment, we'll take it to the Dropbox, but we'll do what we've been doing, and we'll also call ahead and let them know, hey, we just received this payment on this address. And there are going to be issues along the way. Somehow Allison's office received a deposit check this week in Houston. So people find information all over the place, but this would extremely speed up the processing time for payments for it to go straight to the person who is inputting the data. So we just need to make a formal motion to change the billing statements.
And then we can do something social media wise about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll push a huge communication push on that to change. And it'll take a while. A lot of those are, somebody sets that up as a bill pay and they don't even look at it again. So it'll take a while for them to cycle through.
So it'll still say make it next week, the check out to down range, but
Right.
send it to Select.
Yeah. Because that's the way they're coming to us and we're just immediately handling it for them.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve that utility billing change, just to make it a little bit smoother for customers.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good.
I am Salina, thank you. And the customers who do not want to
Yeah.
do this.
Oh, they will. Nice for small ones. Item 14, report from our new general manager.
We are going to discuss an executive to another piece of this that we have conducted interviews for the maintenance position. Had some really good candidates and I feel like we found a great candidate that I want to discuss budget with you all in closed session later when we go into that. Another update that's important to move on quickly is we've received a 60-day notice of cancellation from TrueStar, which is a landscaping company for Savannah and Arrowbrook. So we are gathering bids for that, quotes to find another company to replace them. At least it was a 60-day and we're not just left tomorrow trying to figure out who's going to mow those areas. They did cite that it was internal issues. They didn't have any issues with the district or the work or the contract. It's just something that they're handling internally and we'll not be able to
Why
continue.
would they let business go? That's,
Maybe they have a staffing problem or something.
maybe.
Maybe staffing. A preliminary cleanup at Arrowbrook Park has taken place. I walked the park with Monica and we saw, there were bricks. When I say slabs of wood, I don't mean like little pieces of broken up wood. I mean like a chunk of wood leaned up against the fence. You guys were all tagged in the Facebook post of some of the worst situations around the drainage. There was still rebar and pipe. All of that has been removed. It was quite a bit of trash and garbage, and it led to the garbage truck sinking in the gravel when they left with the dumpster because it was so full, which led to the parking lot being dragged and the curbs being straightened. We're going to continue to have to maintain that because of the type of rock that is. It's really soft and it's not meant for a trash truck to drive on, so it does sink quite a bit when the weather is foggy in the summer. That won't be an issue. In the meantime, we'll keep an eye on that. The curbs are going to need to be rebarred. I don't know if there's another term for that, but the rebar that's already in those is not long enough for it actually to go through the rock and anchor into the ground. So it's going to need longer pieces. That's something that I chose to just wait until we have an actual maintenance position. Plus the driveway work that's going to be going in adjoining that. So I just wanted to kind of pause on doing anything permanent to see if that was something that we could work into that. For
Possibly have the new maintenance person also check on the playgrounds because the equipment hasn't been inspected. And I know when I was there last summer, the seesaw gets you a full experience.
Candidate that I'm going to bring to you has had years of experience with that with DISD. So yes, I sure can.
Thank you.
And there are issues to work through, obviously, with all of that. That's going to be ongoing with trash and some of the leaks. I use the term leaks loosely. Some of the groups that are using the park are just tying their own trash bags up, which I appreciate that they're bagging their trash. They're just cutting it, and so it's leaving pieces of the bags on poles in different areas. So those kind of things are going to have to be constantly maintained. It was obvious that ice had not been put on many of those issues. I mean, those were things that could have been handled a while ago. So as far as the major eyesores and what I would consider the safety issues of the rebar sticking up and the pipes, and all of that is complete. For neighborhood updates, events, and requests, we booked the spring bulk trash days with the HOA's help as well. We tried to stagger those around the days of the garage sales. And so for Arrowbrook, it's Saturday, April 5th. For Artesia, it is Saturday, April 12th. And for Savannah, it is Saturday, April 26th. And that will be trash. No. Okay. So. Okay.
Because of Easter weekend.
Okay.
What's the date? What's the date?
Which one is Savannah's though?
Oh, I said on the fifth. That's decided to
Okay.
we is our.
She must have reversed. I was just saying, sorry. I apologize for that. I'll make sure that's correct.
So Savannah, April 5th,
Mhm.
and then Arrowbrook is also April 5th?
No, April 26th. I would like to arrange an open house mixer with some of the, well, with all three of the HOAs, with their general managers, the board members that can attend. I would like to do that once the building is ready for visitors, kind of a sneak peek before we do the full launch. So I will be kind of rounding up everybody's calendars for that. I'm thinking June, end of May, 1st of June. That'll give us time to be settled in the building, have all the furniture, all the technology. But I think that would be helpful, especially with items that we've spoken about, specifically being able to interface and talk about issues that each HOA is facing in regards to what they need help with. I would like to be able to make these an ongoing thing, maybe biannually at least, and give the HOAs a chance to interface with all of us and discuss issues that they want to bring to the forefront. Trash collection and service updates and issues. As we all know, January was not friendly to our friends at Waste Connection or to our residents at all. The ice storm definitely interrupted service. We received 37 tickets that I counted. I did not count the residents that put in 6 tickets each. I understand why they did. I did not count those 6 times. It took a good 2 weeks of cycling through for that to actually be adjusted and every resident to have their trash picked up. However, we are on schedule. This weather did not impact at all. And the only tickets that we've received about trash since they got back on schedule was things like someone put their cart out late and Waste Connection said they would come pick it up and they didn't. So those were just minor fluctuations in service. For the fire department reports, the calls of service, Savannah had 49, Artesia had 20, and Arrowbrook had 29.
I think you're off to a great start.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I had a question about the project. So the wood that you found there, was that like somebody dumping wood or?
If I were to guess, I would say it's a little bit of both. I think some of it was leftover. It honest to me looks like people were throwing things from their fence over. It's been there a while though. And so it could have been during construction originally and it just got left and somebody propped it up.
Oh, I see.
I don't know. It was weathered. It had been there a while. As with like the bricks were in low spots. It really looked like construction leftovers at some point that just got thrown around and maybe kids picked them up and made it. I don't know, but it definitely had been there for a while.
Thank you.
Yes.
Motion to accept the GM report.
I'll make a motion to accept the GM report.
Also, again.
All in favor? Any opposed? From the chief of police.
Good evening, directors. All right, so we had our first quarterly division performance update for QDPU this last month. We talked about this in the past. It's been a quarterly meeting we had with all of our significant sergeants and up. And discussing crime trades, community initiatives, personnel, and public vision and where we're going. So that was settled in January. The annual report, which was given to y'all last month, was completed and published to the website, so it's all up to date. Our annual racial profiling report was completed, and there's a separate line for that, so we have to, by law, publish that to y'all, so we'll come back to that. I mentioned this in the past, it's something we're working on, honestly, it's taking a little bit longer than expected. There's an app we're working on, a startup company that's giving it to us for free, that's kind of their, gonna do us figure it out together kind of thing, called the room. What this is gonna do, once it's finalized, you have an app on your phone, it's personalized to the police department. It basically gives citizens a very easy access to name an officer and make a complaint against an officer. And also you can access the annual, crime map that we show on our website, so that's a click away. It just opens up the communication area going on. So when you hit, it's going to create your voice. You hit the voice, it'll ask you for officer's badge number, his name, or if you don't have that, it goes to some geofencing data to see where your stop occurred or where your house where incident occurred at. As we're redoing our business card with the new address for the building, there'll also be a QR code on the back of that business card. So when it's on the officer has a contact with someone, will handle that. We'll say if you make your accommodations, the citizen wants to respond, they can do that. And, our new administrative sergeant will be watching those things. Obviously, accommodations come in, we'll do a good job of that. I've seen it before. The complaint comes in, and it's determined to be a level 1 or level 2 complaint by our policy, and we handle either by a supervisor, either the sergeant personnel, or we go up the chain to assistant chief master for internal affairs investigation. So again, it's just another way that we're opening up that transparency, which is one of our core values to the public. And this is something that's new. No one who was doing this. This was something this guy, he actually works for another software company that we use. He ventured out and did his own thing, so they don't even have this. So it's free for us right now. I'm sure at some point that we're going to be brought out. We'll have to start paying at some point, but I thought it was pretty cool. So that it's definitely new and we can do new here down where. So it's almost ready. There's one little piece of the app where you hit it and you pick up a blank screen right now. You're working on fixing that. So we're working on some issues. When it comes out, it'll be a huge social media push and we'll be thing on that. And then it's as far as we'll be updated to have that.
Will you be able to file, like, I'm not gonna say a police report, but a resident complaint, car stolen, loud music?
If you start seeing very convoluted, keep up the report numbers based on electing. So you know, citizens do this all the time. On Facebook, we want to report to Facebook. Say, please call dispatch. I mean, tracker vehicles control numbers. So you know, that could happen. Didn't count it with our RMS system would use this and so you get too much going on. So all of our crime trades, our stats will be thrown off. And so
I see.
we just centrally locate all that in one spot. So again, it's just a way that citizens will have really nice. The good thing for officers that kind of build back them. Or, as a mixture, you want to know this and bad thing. Speaking correct. So it's very simple. It's got a full personal police attitude. Again, it's pretty cool. So
What was the app called again?
it's called for room. You can pull it, actually download it now. Pretty long in. It's beta room.
Verum.
VERUM. It's the company. I wish you knew the commercial league, but they do it free. So again, it's still beta. We'll once it comes out, it's finalized, it'll be a big push and we'll talk about it. Really cool stuff with it. Every 2 years, by law, I have to go to a leadership series at Chief School, and you go get all your updates for the last cycle. There's a lot of leadership talks and a lot of chiefs are teaching. We do active shooter demand training, and all the chiefs take all that information and come back to our agencies and go, hey, we got 10 polls and we got your people without pushing out. You need to do this training or do some new Isaac ideas I heard. And it's also a way for all these local chiefs. Little Elm Chief was there, Oscar High School was there, so they gave it all the opportunity to collaborate. So I was in Waco for me last month, and so we're going back to where the hill's at next time. And go back. So that was done in January. The new administrative sergeant position was posted. It's filled. Wasn't filled in January, but Sergeant Russo was a successful candidate. He's doing excellent. He's going to be over the K9 unit. We'll come back in a second. Our SRO program over at the Department of Training. He's going to be our go-to in the building. We start working on best practices and being accredited. He's going to be our main hub for that. It's going to be a busy job, but so far he is doing excellent with that. That created a backfill for a patrol sergeant, and actually we held up assessments today. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself into the wrong month, but Officer Harris was the successful candidate and will be promoted starting on Monday. So we'll see him next month here against one as sergeant. So Chief Massey and myself, we're looking at our cars. You all are aware we have a vehicle replacement funds we put back. We had a vehicle replacement plan of the years of the vehicle based on the usage. a lot of agencies lease their vehicles. And so just to see if that's going to be an option for us to kind of save some money, we did have a conversation with Enterprise, who's the popular one. Looking at it, the cost of it, it doesn't make any sense for us.
Is that where you landed last time too?
Yeah, that's the I said one. And the real breaking point of this is, the car is be 5,000. You spend about 30 to 40 grand upfitting them with radios and lights and stuff. If you spend more than 10 grand upfit, they want half that. No, anything more than 10 grand is the capital cost to you. So then why am I leasing a car? It should be all inclusive on the lease. That's what doesn't make any sense. And because we're kind of ahead of most agencies do, most agencies, they just come in, hey, boy, we need 6 cars this year. We know when we need those cars. It's built into the replacement plan. If you didn't have that, then at least it's very beneficial. But we've created this. We know we want to put in every year to be prepared for that 5 car year versus that 1 car year. So we have that number. We can keep up with that number. It fluctuates based on inflation, obviously here and there, but it's pretty well term. So long story short, we looked into it. We said that's going to be an option to save some money, and it's not going to be for us. So, syncing vehicles, I've talked about it several times. The LPR software that is on our dash cams. We had the flop LPRs, and then now with this new system, the cloud system. It's been a long time for that initially happened. This is the LPR components. Our vehicles dash cams actually got lots of plate reading capabilities on them. That's finishing. Actually, I think it just finished last week, so it's just been a process. So some cars have an older system, so people different. But Brad is working on this there, and I don't tend to understand how to configure and stuff with it, but it's wrapped up. While we're on LPRs, there's some chatter on Facebook about this department arresting the coach from South Lake. You all seen this?
Mm-hmm.
As you know, that we don't make a habit of publicizing our arrest. Yes, we did make that arrest. There was actually a flop LPR hit that our female handler to be came across her hair. She went around, actually found his house, I run his plate, and the 3 officers went to his house, put him outside and made the arrest. That is not our case to publicize. That is South Lake PD's case. And so, WFA, it says arrest by Elmridge Police Department. That's true, but it's on warrant, not our case. So South Lake will be the one. That's just courtesy of that. We don't want to be. It's not ours to be publicized. So if you're wondering what that was, very good. That's what that is. All right, activity 20 service last month, 2,748, 645 are dispatched, 21, a little over 2,100 are self-initiated. So 77% total calls being self-initiated. That's an increase of 182 calls from last month. We had 351 traffic contacts in January. 90% of violators were issued warnings. I guess the officers are still in Christmas spirit on that.
Mm-hmm.
The department completed 2,007, obviously the same number of calls for a year. From the first month of the year, you have your monthly report in the drive, and it's your community breakdowns, or your SRO report, nothing to point out there. K9 units. If you recall last month, they were headed to Texas for us. Well, then they hit all the ice storm and put it to Texas. So was it last week? Our handler and our vendor was Mississippi. And as you've seen on our Facebook, we now have a K9. Marshall is our German short-haired pointer. He's a little over 1 year old. He's currently doing his initial training with our vendor right now. Officer Simmons is already fallen in love with him. We've been in the process of buying all the stuff, collars and others. We got ahead of it. We couldn't buy pins and collars because of the size of the dogs, and that's all being ordered. Sergeant Russo's been very busy with all that. She will start her official handler school, I think March 10th is the day. We're still on track for April 1, a live day. So he will begin getting narcotics and tracking dog and article search dog. In fact, while they were at the vendor up in Mississippi, he brings dogs from Czech Republic, where he's from. He would actually did article search on his own for a training glove that they were going to use for that night. So he's already doing the work. What are you training? Yeah, so seems to me it was going to be a very good dog.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know, I'm on social media. K9 Marshall he's named after a fallen deputy from Georgia. Our vendor was good friends with this deputy, Nicole Marshall. She was a K9 handler for several years for a sheriff's office. Was doing a lot of duty. And so when Shane reached out, when we reached out to Shane for the dog, one of the talks of getting the dog donated was doing this tribute to her. And so obviously we'd love to do that. So it was either going to be Lena, it was a girl dog, so her first name was Nicole, her nickname was Lena, or Marshall, so her last name, or Marshall the boy. So not to be confused with Paw Patrol dog, the police dog. And on the back of the Tahoe, the K9 car still had a tribute sticker that actually has that sheriff's department's patch, and it says, in memory of Deputy Marshall. So So, I told the sheriff's office yesterday to get that patch graphic, and they said, hey, yeah, we've seen your Facebook, it's being shared all over Georgia right now, so. We're getting a lot of cool attention on that, so it's a pretty cool story. Community services, the rear field was placed on Magnolia Boulevard at Greenview. 76% of vehicles driving underneath the speed limits. The average speed was only 22. The average violation speed was about 28 miles an hour. You have that report in your drive. On-duty officers attended a pop-up coffee and donuts event in Aeroport in January. Then, of course, with the snow and all that fun stuff, officers had a good opportunity to get out and actually walk off with kids and do all the fun thing. Vehicles were pretty good to us last month. You won't hear the same thing next month. Not very good to us right now. Staffing, we currently have 4 vacancies. One, went to an org board, is now in background. You have 2 others that will be hopefully next week have an org board and they go into background, which is there. So good. 2 of the 3 have very good experience. One is about a year. So we're trying to get some more. We sent 4 people to the academy last year. We need some more tenure coming in right now. So. But we are making good progress on that. And then lastly, the 2 new officers that just graduated the academy that are in FTO are making good progress, no issues. Any questions for the PD?
I know this is for January, but I don't think everyone knows about the 1-star sitting next to you.
That's right.
Could we, announce that? Hey, can I give a little something?
I've talked several times about they're always analyzing the human structure. How would be more efficient, which is when we can move positions around. The admin sergeant is an example of that. I mean, we had a CID sergeant, but he was overseeing 3 people. So did we really need a sergeant over that specifically? So when Sergeant Smith promoted, one of those thoughts was, hey, can you handle CID and patrol and be a captain over that? So your main job is reviewing reports, assigning cases, and managing personnel. Mike was also a captain and does 1,000 things other than that. I mean, it's an administrative task. And I'll tell you from a personal standpoint that this guy's my right hand man. There's another decision I make that he is involved with. He has a whole different side of experience that I don't have, and then we work well together. So we met the law enforcement committee met, and the idea was to make him an assistant chief because his responsibilities are more in line with that title. And that's actually something in my chief class we talked about some strategic planning and the positions we have in departments, and that kind of came up. And I'm sitting in class going, "That's not a captain; it's just a chief." About this, so we under the radar. He didn't want us to ceremony. He's an assistant chief, so those continue. Anything else?
I did have 2 issues, Chief. Somebody asked me about golf carts, and I think there was a thing on social media about it too, but with Costco opening up, are people going to be allowed to transverse 1385 with their golf cart?
Yeah, so the way the law reads is you can drive among streets under 35 miles an hour, and you can cross streets that are over that. So that's currently what the law reads. So I don't like that unless speed on that 1385, but let me double check all that, but that's my understanding. Yeah,
Be a very brave crossing.
Yes, but there, yes, go to a private parking lot, landing a developed neighborhood that has additional place.
Okay. Are we doing anything special with that opening? Like, can we stake out the intersection or?
So that's not our roadway. So we can,
our side of it, because I guess I'm worried people are gonna get excited, speed through the neighborhood or whatever.
what is that road?
March
14. We can.
With the gas station open, it's March 3rd. The gas station opened up March 3rd.
Yeah.
What was that little?
Yeah, at least keep an extra eye on it, I think.
The organization of the vehicle on the shoulder there, just have the cruise lights on and just don't really officers in there. It gets real finicky, right? We get those special thought, but it's from the edge of our neighborhood. You went to stop there, they run the red light going out of Savannah, yes, they run it going south. So it's kind of finicky jurisdictions right there, but we definitely try to exterior here. Yeah, anything else?
Do I have a motion to approve the case report?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Richard, do you want to tie in the Richard football report to supplemental agenda real fast?
Yeah, I was gonna say, the supplemental agenda has the racial profiling report, so if you want to check out that excited about.
That's fine.
So every year we have to do this, due by March 1st, we'll typically get it done in January, almost anything to worry about. Basically, in this report, you're telling the state, the state, the police department has a policy on racial profiling, which we do, that we strictly prohibit officers from racially profiling, we do. Then we have a complaint process, which that's online, and it's also full of pages in our lobby, that shows you how to do this. And that's what the public education side is, how you do the complaint process. And then do we have policies that outline corrective action? We have just one general order that outlines that. And then doing the actual audit, and then presenting that to your TICO and your local authority. So this what this part is. Everything else is done. This nice stuff. Let TICO. This is paying attention to you. If you look at it, it's a lot of numbers. This thing breaks down obviously by race, but you know what type of traffic stop was. It was any use of force on this. There's no anomalies here. There's nothing that like this. There's a problem. Everything hasn't been so far. We're doing good. It's a very simple thing, honestly. We didn't have, again, I really the other day it's simplest. There's nothing we can fix. So if you've had a time to look at it, have to answer any questions, but it's just a lot of numbers to break it down. But there's nothing that shows we are arresting or stopping this outside of the norm of our area based on our operation. Any questions, thoughts?
Seeing the vehicle as it whizzes by, I'm sure.
Yeah, the only time that somebody asked that was the grace note beforehand. So the answer is yes. I mean, you are headed to a call for domestic and he says, hey, the white male driver is the suspect just left a blue Mazda and you saw that car, yeah, you know, so the answer is not always no, but 99% of the time it's good no. No, I don't know. So.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the racial profiling report.
Well, you have it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 16, report regarding construction of the administration building.
You want me to split these up for you next time?
There's a lot going on out there now. There's probably 10 frames on the side at any given time. It is front time. As you can see, your list here is much longer than you've seen in the past. So I'm going to run through the high points. It's obviously points at all inclusive. This is for me. So again, no safety issues have been presented in any of our meetings. The elevator is completed. I think yesterday they sent off the final inspection for the elevator. They think they're going to pass first time. So most of the time you don't. So Schindler Elevator and with our elevator people have been very, very detail oriented. So they're expecting to pass the first time on this one, but that takes about 3 weeks to get out. So that's what we are on that. All the exterior concrete work is done. Our sidewalks, the generator pads, all that's done. Parking lot, the generator was delivered, I think yesterday. So I said 218 here, but yesterday. It's not installed yet, sitting in the parking lot. Parking lot canopies, which is the canopies go with vehicles in the future. What are you asking? They're looking at that for March 1. Again, there's still some movement in that parking lot. I'm not sure the cars won't be there March 1. But that's when the canopies are expected to be reinstalled. They're doing the fencing right now around the parking lot. The irrigation system's completed. The landscaping has begun. If you drive by, you'll see trees and bushes. What's next is really just sod. They're not going to do the sod, but finish the canopy on the roof lines. There's a canopy around the south port as well as that patio, and there's 2 in front of the building. Weather this week has delayed that, as you can imagine, we're going to cherry pick that power up. Cold degree weather. But that is actually ahead of schedule. That was supposed to start on March 1 as I started. So we're ahead on that. But again, it's all going down to those cherry pickers. Things are out of that area. The additional paint is completed. It looks like a building inside kind of. Of course, it's not done. Just as contractors still do their best to paint back up. So that paint got, I feel bad for it. It's coming back all the time, repaint. That's just going to be a still business. So the first floor tile is complete. The second floor tile is in process. The terrazzo, which is your pretty tile, it's going to be near last. Obviously, because as we're working in the building, they don't want to mess up that tile. And that's where your logo is going to be in the floor and things. And it's going to be expensive to replace if it's cracked. The elevator tile, which is also terrazzo, I believe starts next week. I'll get that in. I'm going to mess that up.
The building canopy that's eventually got in a schedule, Swaggy, which is all your cameras and things for your council cameras. They're talking, I think, March 10th, March 14th. They'll be finishing up their installation in there. The installation scheduled. That's kind of been a point of contention because they have all these requirements that you have to have our door security. You had to have certain, it's just been a whole mess. And so they are scheduled. They're talking mid-April for grant fiber that building. We're hoping to get that moved up. They're saying there's permits going to hold them up for April, but maybe sooner. I'm hoping sooner. In the meantime, we are working with the AV company so they can run up next to the admin building, the current admin building, so we can operate out of the building for that permanent line to get put in the building. We'll see how all that plays out. The tornado shelter windows are delayed again. They actually brought it today from the Spirit Valley.
Oh, that's nice.
Manager of a manufacturer.
Yes, he was serious about this one. They are in the Metroplex. They're supposed to be on something next couple of weeks. They did put the plexiglass. Those windows are framed. There's plexiglass covering them, so they can be blowing in the building to do the sprocking. But they are the Metroplex. It should be the next week or so being installed.
I'll ask some questions on it next week's meeting if it's my time.
One of the hallways, we come out of the going towards the PD downstairs. There's it will be a temporary metal door, the hallway door. The door on that particular frame was an incorrect swing. And so there's a bunch of discussion about that. And I said, how long what's the delay for the real door coming in, which said this kind of linked to it. It's about 2 weeks, like I say mid-late March. So they're going to put that temporary one in for inspection purposes, and then that new one coming. So if you do have a meet and greet, there's a metal door in the hallway, that's not staying there. It's temporary. As we walk the building, last week we noticed a few carpentry locations were in the wrong locations. But for instance, on the gym, it's supposed to be inside the door, it's on the outside. So they're breaking some of that stuff. The carpentry, they have the carpenters in it. So I'm trying to fix up the full stuff. And then work showing up, just cabinet. So that'll be millwork begin Monday. They're thinking by the end of the month, all the millwork. So I say millwork, it's your cabinet. Today they put in the blanket cabinets. As you see, that's what the break room had. It looks great. It matches the doors perfectly. It looks real nice. The life safety inspection is scheduled for the first week of March. That's basically your final. You have to have, emergency exit signs up. You have to have, the fire alarm system up, your double safety in place, and that he's getting closer to getting your certificate like this, your CO to move in. In your OneDrive, you'll see there's an agreement from Firetronics was signed by the committee. That's your fire alarms monitoring system. We don't necessarily need an alarm system just for the police. But what we're going to do in the building is basically make it if you don't use a card reader and you can access the system we have for our cameras, we all have its own apps and updates. So all of our supervision charges up have phones. If you do have a forced entry into the building, we'll be alerted to the on-duty cops as well as myself and everybody else. And so we'll just respond. I don't need to pay a dispatch alarm company. We just dispatch ourselves to them. So that was that. No major cost saving decisions as far as construction is concerned. You did have some change orders there in OneDrive. They've been signed and executed, but to make everyone else aware of them. You've asked for aluminum framing around those skull windows. So on the stone from the building, they look like a hurricane when it comes to me. I never could get past it, so I was like, can we not do something to give this some depth? And so what they're going to do is the windows that have steel trimming around them. That same steel trimming will go around those panels to kind of give it what it's supposed to be. Right now, it looks like some panels can be just spread out of there. So it looks like the biggest exterior. So another change order is occupancy lock interview room. I mentioned this in the past. There's 2 suspect interview rooms upstairs. They don't have windows in them. When the detectives into that door shut, there's people walking up and down the hallways. It's nice to know when those are being used, especially with all that's being reported. So when you go in the room, there's a switch up in the light red. That was an addition to add those rooms. And then upstairs flooring, and this is talked about a little bit more about it now. It's a $21,402 change. What we found out last week was, I don't know why this was created this way. You have tile up the entire building. But upstairs into the PD, where the CID and administrative offices are, was going to be bare concrete.
Oh, and downstairs is going to be terrazzo, with the exception of
there was an area.
There's a whole section of terrazzo flooring rather than just the regular, other than for the logo. There's a whole section of terrazzo tile rather than just the base tile facility.
Yeah, so there's a whole way there's in front of your council chambers that goes across. That was all going to be terrazzo and going around the corner. Well, why are we doing? So let's save some money. Let's put normal tiles on the rest of the building there.
and then let's finish the building upstairs and actually have that time continue where it's supposed to be versus you walk out of the lobby, you go to the PD side and park on concrete.
It was gonna be, yeah, it was gonna be polished concrete flooring, so. That's what that last change order is to remove the terrazzo, put regular tile downstairs with the exception of the entryway, and then finish tiling the upstairs.
So what Constellation did is it has an increased contract price. At the end of the day, where the increased contract price was put in case, it's still the same amount of money. It's just how they labeled it. They felt that was more of a increased contract price. So that's what you go into documents and when the OAC meetings, you'll see whatever that number is at, increased by 21,000 versus reducing area contingencies. So that's how he did it. FF&E. So a few months ago, we talked about all the furniture and all the button up items of the building, going through 400,000 for the max for this. Happy to report we are well below that. Final quotes get back for furniture. We're at $155,665 and some change for the furniture. Southwest Solutions is all your metal work. So the metal shelvings, for like the quartermaster, all that stuff you have to have. Was at $55,637. That's also the additional police slots and things that are in there, as well as the records rollers, all those. Anything metal shelving, that's supposed to be. Robinson Steel is at $3,485. Really, all they are is these benches have to be radiated. They have in the bathrooms, that they have in the locker room against the lockers and things. That's that amount. So in total, we're sitting at $214,788 out of $400,000. So we're 99% confident we're going to be loaned at $300,000 at finished. So we had Alpha Graphics come out yesterday, walk the building about where do we want some logo placement for the walls. It's been nice. It has a place to finish. I did have a guy come out out of Connor that does plasma, just in the middle man into the plasma, and he wanted over $1,000 for a bag. I'm like, thank you, no thanks. We're going this way. And so we're waiting on a quote from Alpha today and have this afternoon. So I will have that. I hope it's a lot deeper than that is. But there's all kinds of things that need to be purchased. The compressors with satellite board, you got pictures on the walls. I mean, that is stuff that add up slowly as we go through it. Dry erase boards for the office. I mean, there's freaking rooms. The old area for the EOC on dry erase board things. We're on these things. So, but we won't touch the 400,000. I guarantee you that. The only thing furniture wise, we're still waiting on patio furniture. Lynn has to create an account for the cheap table things outside patio. The first one they sent me from Market James stock there is something needs the furniture. Well, like $9,000 for 2 patio chairs. So she found another place to like 2,000 or 3,000, but that's more like it. So it'd be great account to get the stuff on them. So again, we're not touching the 400,000. Update on things being delivered. The gym equipment still scheduled to be installed March 13th. Furniture, I'm told, it's between 13 and 20. Can't give me a secure date yet. Furniture is being made for so it's not sitting in the warehouse, making it in production. So here's the contingency fund statuses. Your construction contingency is at $188,161.41. That was decreased by the $2,544 for council chamber ceiling ductwork. This is another issue in this building is you walk into like these doors in that building, there's HVAC return right above that. We thought we were past this. It came up again today in today's construction meeting. There's some limber system that happens right there that isn't there. It's supposed to be there. And if their thought was they're going to go in and put it on this side of the wall, which would then they have to rip out all the sheetrock they've done. So you're looking at another $2,000-$3,000. So as I'm walking it, I look at the hallway and I'm like, did you just put it on this side of the brick? Because you just move the return by 3 inches, put it right there. So hey, that's a good idea. So we can do that. That won't really no cost. That little space has been a problem. So how that thing comes into the brick, it's just y'all worry about it. It just continues to be an issue with the side of the building. But we're working through it. Design contingency is at $25,993.55. That was decreased by $4,157 for the aluminum framing around the windows and the occupancy lights at about $3,000 and $1,200 respectively on that. So you're still sitting at over $200,000 in contingency funds. So as long as we can keep the building going without having some major issues, we're still looking to bring back over $200,000 back into our general funds. The next test talks about the contract process, which is before revision. Just going to explain what that is. Completion date, they're still telling me March 20th. Even the schedules today are still showing it. There's a lot going on in that building. I don't recommend walking through if you're not being careful. I got putty all over my police jacket. This one over my jacket. I just did all days, and not something like, you know.
It doesn't come out either.
So, and I put my hand around some other buddy, and I think you can work around, I'm sorry. You know, so, we're getting through it. So here are the photos there at the bottom. Crossline has asked their photographer to quit taking pictures of the upline's property because every time they send me pictures, they keep getting that. I didn't send you all of them. It's just one is just that property. I'm like, it's not the building. So, anyways, that's the end of that. Yeah, or any questions?
No, yeah, I said a question. Somebody was asking me the other day, what's gonna happen to the two other buildings, the administration building and the police building?
That is, smells the same.
Or decision on that yet. We'll have to bring that as an agenda item for sure.
And I'll say publicly again, there is no jail. It's police department. It was what we're calling it really a rescue processing center. It is 3 walls that are sheetrock. There's 1 wall that has a cage gate. And basically a patrol officer, if he makes an arrest, will bring someone there only if he needs to get paperwork. Not if they're going to go straight to the house. But if there's like a DWI, that's a lot of paper, 6 hours of paperwork. He can come back to the PD, it's a little bar, it's right in front of that cage, and they got other computers in the car there, and do their paperwork, print it all out, and then take him back out of that cage and go to Denton County. Because we are not a licensed jail, we can't even hold someone there for over 6 hours, period, or we get in major trouble. So it's not a jail.
And the cage is sheetrocked on 3 sides.
Yeah, it's kind of like the metal bar thing. This, like, I'm not comfortable until often and wait to God, not be on touch the thing, you're gonna it's
a hole in it.
Yeah, it's not a jail.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that.
No, it's nothing like that at all. That's the whole other area. Anyway.
I'll make a motion to accept the PM report.
I'll second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 17, discuss status of Denton's IFC compliance with House Bill number 3.
Yes, as you know, we talked about it, ad nauseum, their commitment to spend, $15,000 on the SRO that's at Savannah. Currently, we pay for it all, but after Senate 23, they do have a responsibility to provide, an armed, person at elementary school. We're still doing it. So, we've gone back and forth. They've gone silent, but now, yesterday I got an email from their deputy superintendent that sent me the agreement that we currently have with them and asked me to amend it to include the $15,000 that they're going to pay. I haven't had time to do it yet, but I will get that over to them. Just adding my caveat in there. They can approve it, we can approve it, and then hopefully we get.
Oh, okay. What was it, HB 3 or Senate Bill 3?
House Bill 3. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't understand that. I saw your note that you were having to amend that. I was like, well, it already says that they're paying $15,000, so I didn't get the amendment, right?
No. We actually have an agreement with the ISD that allows us to provide the SRO at that elementary school. But in that agreement, it says that we will pay the entire cost. So they're gonna pay 15 grand and we'll amend that to say they're contributing 15 grand to that cost of having that SRO officer.
Got it. Okay.
So,
But I can get.
so I think my only question to that, because we've had other emails earlier where we aligned all the agreements after the House bill was, recommended or passed. So are they going to use that as an excuse not to pay us until next year now?
I mean, I haven't had that conversation with them.
I would like to have that conversation because of that.
For this year.
Yeah, I'd like to breach that conversation with them because.
For the current school year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, so we put that in there. That's the 2024-2025 school year starting the 25-26. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sitting over with an invoice for you.
For me?
Yeah, from them.
Maybe for you too.
It's not that, bring it back to you guys next.
But at least they finally responded back to us because that was not going to be a fun discussion.
No, I'm really not. This keeps your short.
Yes.
Action.
That's it.
Number 18, report on district website.
Good evening, board. Today we have a few different things that we wanted to put on the floor for you. We'll talk about action items here in a little bit. In terms of projects, we are working on the plans for the grand opening for that new administration building. Ms. Bradley had a meeting with the police department and Ms. Bland on Tuesday. Right now we have a tentative date of August 2nd. So that's sort of what we're looking at, but we're going to work with the communications committee a bit more on that to get those plans finalized. In terms of website modifications, nothing too pressing to talk about. We did send 3 alerts in the past month, and we continue to see growth in our alerts platform. So that's always good to see more people signing up for SMS and email alerts. For resident tracker, we did have 48 tickets come through in the past month. And you'll see there at the bottom, we had 14 continuing to be active, but we closed 48. So it's good to see that ratio sort of flip from last month, where we had 33 tickets open and only closed 13. So that's good to see. Nothing necessarily important for analytics, but we continue to see good traffic on the website on a month-to-month basis. We also did include something for you to look at today called the Annual Insights. So this is our new sort of thing that we're sending out to districts. This gives you a sort of overview of your 2024 year in terms of website analytics, alert metrics, tracker statistics, as well as social insights. So you'll see tremendous website traffic throughout the year, one of the best for any of the districts that we serve. And you see nearly 65% year-over-year growth with that. So that's always good to see. In terms of alerts, we continue to see a great increase in users, nearly 40% for both mobile and email alerts. So we now have a total of 1,023 SMS alert users and 692 email alerts. So that's always good. We sent out 32 alerts last year, so good utilization for the alerts platform. And in terms of tracker, we had 337 total tickets. Of those, 323 we closed, and 14 were left open by the end of the year. So good to see that as well. Recurring themes that we have seen in Tracker include trash and recycling, which Ms. Bland touched on, with waste connections, signage issues, so residents complaining about signs either being down or being mislabeled or so on and so forth, and then water issues, of course, as a water control and improvement district. In terms of social insights, you can see Facebook traffic and followers as well as reach. And then for YouTube, you can also see total views, subscribers, impressions, so on and so forth. I did want to touch on the what were they? Action items at the top of our communications report. So you'll see in your packet, you should have the new resident information sort of pamphlet that we created. This is a draft for you to review. So this has information about what Elm Ridge Wicket is, what is a wicket in general. It has a QR code for residents to scan to either sign up for alerts or report an issue, so on and so forth, as well as frequently asked questions, when the meetings are, those sorts of things. So we just wanted to give that to you for review so you can see a draft. We did also talk about community newsletters at the last meeting. So we have a little information packet here for you. How this works is Triton will design a newsletter whenever you want. So you can do it monthly. Most districts do it quarterly. So that's sort of what we're recommending for you is that quarterly. But this will be handled by us. We will come up with the content either from the meetings, board members, committees, police department, general manager, so on and so forth. And then we're going to handle publishing and printing as well. So that is on us. You'll see some samples that we have for you to look at. And one thing I did want to point out, something that could be good with the newsletter is information and getting information out to residents. So you talked about scooters tonight. We could have a little section on the newsletter that explains, hey, these are the rules for scooters, these are the rules for bikes, so on and so forth. So could be a good use of that. You can also see cost, design and production, and sort of timeline of what it looks like when you initialize that. So that is all that I had for you. Let me make sure. Yes.
Real quick and throw in a couple things from earlier. For the April meeting in Artesia, I think we should go ahead and announce that, you know, coming soon to a neighborhood near you kind of thing. So we'll put that out even in advance of the meeting. And then when we start talking about reservation systems and all that. Totally doable, lot to think about. So just, deep dive conversation on that.
Mhm.
Okay, they covered everything else.
Everything,
That was a great update, Keith. Thank you.
Yes. Nice
questions,
job.
any questions that I can con off to make?
I did have a question. Megan, we talked about the tracker for the trash tickets, like tying, our ticket together with emailing the vendor.
Yeah, we are gonna start doing that this month on. Last month because of the sheer volume of the ticket. And honestly, it was a known issue. It was weather related and there wasn't much, wasn't much to say other than please be patient. They're doing their very best. But yeah, going forward, we will be tying that in so that they'll go to waste connections at the same time. And that way both entities can kind of keep track and handle those requests.
Yeah, that would be good to do a Facebook thing on it too, because we previously told people call both, which is
Right.
clunky. Now you don't have to do that.
Right.
And to that point last month, when it was chaotic, we were forwarding every message we got to Waste Connections. Either myself or Cindy was doing that to make sure we were keeping track of those.
Yeah, so we're going a few, quite a few.
So the one thing I'd still be interested in, is the website visitors measures the clicks of the website, but it doesn't measure how many of those, as far as this analytic, how many are actually different IP addresses. I'd be curious to see what the percentage of correlation there between number of visits versus different IP visits are, because that's going to give us an indicator of how many are repeat visitors versus different visitors, and let us know what kind of traction we're actually getting across the community.
Okay. Yeah, and we can even drill down geographically on where those hits are coming from. So yeah, we'll start to include that.
Yeah, because I'm not as interested in if Brandon clicks on it 100 times and I click on it 70 times to get to 2,000 clicks.
Right.
I'm more interested in how many different IPs that came from, because that's how many different visitors across our community that we're serving, for example, that are actually visiting the website.
Yeah, good point. We'll
We have dynamic IPs, so.
A lot of people do, but you can still, and that can be problematic, but
So it's closer.
it's closer. It's not exact.
And a map would be fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also like the map because sometimes you see that people are viewing from Alaska. I'm like, could be, but also,
Hey, when I'm traveling in Tunisia for my job,
oh, it's you.
nothing's
It's you.
gonna stop me from looking at the Elmridge website to see what's going on.
There you go.
Pass the board.
And the board is, that's on me. I promise it for next month. I'll have an update for you. I'm not gonna throw Jonathan under the bus because it's totally on me, but we'll get.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's work hard. Yes, I'll have something for you for next month for sure. And actually, before the communications committee. Okay,
Is it possible to have, Jennifer and Chief to have access to the website to do just like those mini changes? Cause like, I know I saw Sergeant Smith still on there and he's been captain for like 2 months. So that way we don't have to
Right.
get through everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can give you guys track those, then you can go in and make changes, whatever you want. That's no problem at all.
Thank you.
And that did get changed, yes. Right.
Yes, just excellent. I did a lot of changes. I missed that one.
There were quite a few. And
It's like, great, now that he knows I'm stalking our website.
yeah, that's what we want. Your site has a lot of pages and a lot of content, so it is great to have more eyes on it, just to make sure that we're catching everything. Many places where the same information is listed and you want to make sure we get it all correct.
And then they just keep promoting people.
Really.
That's one of the rooms in the building are actually movable slabs.
There you go.
Sticky notes.
Don't even have titles, just names.
I changes often too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anything else we can answer for you? Awesome. Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve the communication report?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 19, consider committee reports.
The finance committee did meet, you want to give the report? I'm trying to think of what we talked about. We talked about being able to collect money from our field rentals and have an account that would track the incomings of that money, which I think Lynn was working on. We talked about process to streamline our check process so that we could better manage having to sign 40,000 checks a month.
Yeah, so one thing that we did discuss was having Jennifer able to sign the checks so that right in the committee meetings, we can take care of these. So we don't have to bring them to our board meetings.
And also I'm going to be presenting to them some different policies, maybe, you know, utility bills that are the same price every time, this sort of things, cutting down on some of the checks that we need.
Any issue there?
I mean, the check still needed to be approved by the board. I mean, during COVID, for example, we had one person that signed, the bookkeeper signed because couldn't get everybody together. So you can allow the treasurer or general manager authority to sign the checks. They just still have to be approved, you know, part of the bookkeeper report by the board.
We could keep a list of checks and then look that over, right? And then we don't have to basically sign off on every check. We can delegate that piece.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can sign it, but you know, they all have to be in the bookkeeping report. Yeah, approved.
Right.
Yeah.
So the board will still see an accounting of every.
Is there a problem? Is that commonly done? The three signatures, is that best practice?
Well, you have to consider that, you know, most districts aren't as big and complicated as you are. You know, you have a lot of districts that have outside bookkeeping, just the directors, they don't have any employees. And so it's really a requirement for the banks, but within the banks, and it keeps the bookkeeper having some liability there to require that the three people sign. But the statute does allow for, as I said, the treasurer, the board to give that authority to a board member, the treasurer, or the GM. So there's no issue there. It's just you guys are big enough, and like you said, you have a lot of checks. So it's not unheard of to have one person have the authority as long as the board is still approving it in general.
Just need to keep an eye.
One of the things that kind of caught my attention is we were signing off on, it was like a customer refund for $2 or something, like there was another check for $8. I'm like, there's no reason why A, we should hold this for 30 days and then B, we can't delegate that. But we did talk about
have to hold it to the next board meeting so it's approved, I guess is the point.
Okay, so we'd have to hold it, but still, there's no reason why. Streamline it.
Sign it and send it and then approve it at the board.
Yeah. And then some known invoices, like I think we know we're gonna pay integrity card there. You know, why do we need to necessarily review that? Why can't we just approve it and have Jennifer sign it? We did talk about a dollar limit, like there would be a trigger. Anything over this, I think she's working on a policy that we would obviously have to approve, but I think there's some stuff that we could do to make life a little bit easier for everybody.
All right. Yeah, I was thinking dollar threshold or something.
Yeah, for sure. And like we talked about new vendors or kind of oddball situations, definitely we want to look at that. But if it's something we look at every month and it's generally speaking the same dollar amount, I don't know that needs to rise to that level.
We also talked about in our finance packet to kind of break out those things that are a little out of the ordinary because our invoices are 200 and some pages long. That way you can really focus on those ones that are not normal.
Right. Categorizing.
Yeah. And same with, if you notice this month, the key card was separate. That was one thing that I had asked because I really like making sure that I spend time looking through those.
So I don't think any action right now, but just kind of planting a seed that we will probably come back with a policy change.
Very good.
Which will be fully vetted through Jonathan before we bring it to the board too.
We had a public safety meeting. Good discussion, but the main purpose was Sit for chief promotion.
We didn't hold the ceremony. You guys. I did. We forgot. Yeah, so
We did ask if his wife was going to be angry at us for not doing a board meeting. He said no, but we don't have her signature on that.
And then communications we talked about, so.
Okay. Park we talked about.
Yeah, park, Felicia and I did trade notes on that. We didn't have, with finance committee and she had some other stuff and I had some other stuff. We didn't have time to really connect. But we did talk about the need to kind of get on park rules of Greenbelt. I think we said something about in the next coming weeks or so, 2 weeks. We're gonna try to get together.
To be fair, I threw a lot of information at our committees. So it's a lot to dig through.
And then Brandon and I had 2 calls for the Aubrey Fire Department contract, which we will talk about later in closed session. And then obviously we also had the 3D sports meeting. So that was definitely enlightening.
Oh, and then Mike, we did meet with Prosper, if you wanna talk about that.
In general, yeah.
Okay. Yes, sat down with Prosper again to discuss the light at Artesia Boulevard. That is still pending. I don't think we're ready to comment on it. They also brought up several points about the future expansion of Teal Parkway. I'd noticed them doing some surveying and drilling and asked about it. And they had some points they wanted to bring up on how we would configure the road and who would pay for what. And I brought that back to Jonathan and he has some points to bring back to them. That's still not ready to publicly.
I mean, there are agreements from 2014 and 2018 that talk about deposits made for those future repairs. And so that's a discussion we need to have with them. Based on deposits that were made by the district.
Is that it for committees?
I actually have one more. Really forgot. The fish trap expansion, I got Jennifer invited. So fish trap expansion stakeholder meeting. We met with Little Elm and they are going to work on giving us 3 options for Azalea Village. So this has become more than just the sidewalk. The expansion is going to affect every single entrance over there. The ones on the south side of Fish Trap, not a big deal. They think that they can work with those and save the trees and still give you a decent 2-lane exit. So you'll have your right turn lane and your left turn lane out of Savannah. But the Azalea Village one is definitely going to be problematic because of the apartments that are right across the street. So I had asked them to bring us a few different options because they were just going to say you couldn't exit left and your main entrance and exit. So yeah, hopefully I can share those schematics soon. Having just one exit left in that community doesn't seem.
Just one way out, one turn.
So for Azalea, you would only be able to turn right out because it's a 1-way entrance and a 1-way exit. So if you wanted to turn left out of Azalea Village, you would have to go down to the historic district.
And that's just because the apartments were that close. I can't make it work.
Yes, so I had posed, could we possibly make that Azalea entrance be a 2-way street and just close the current exit? So I just wanted a few proposals instead of just saying, yeah, sure, go with it.
projected timeline?
I would say still end of this year, beginning of next year is what they're still thinking.
Okay. We need a motion. Item 20, discuss status of district intellectual property.
So I provided you the letter that you have from your trademark attorney that you retained. Good news is that the search really turned up nothing that would impede the registration of the trademark or the Elmridge logo, the Elmridge name, and then also your motto. The costs are in that opinion letter, and I sent out an email kind of summarizing those. So it just depends on how you guys want to proceed. There's the flat fee of the application and based on the classes that you're applying for. And then, once the application goes in, and then there's more work that needs to be done. Non-substantive issue, there's a flat fee for that, but if for some reason there's a challenge and all of that, then that would obviously be on an hourly basis. Yeah. So the question is just how the board wants to proceed.
So if we don't do anything, people would be free to use our logo as they see fit, right? Anywhere.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I make a motion to, I think Jonathan's email said 3 things. It's got the actual image work, it's got the Elm Ridge, and it's got the motto. I don't necessarily care about the, not that I don't care, but I just think that's less likely to be copied. I would definitely say the artwork and the Elm Ridge is what I would probably press forward on, and it was $2,000-ish.
Yeah, looking, where's the,
Yeah, okay, so that's times 2, 2,600 times 2.
Yeah.
that's it, 5,200?
Yeah, I mean, for the initial application and everything, and if there's more work to be done with that, I mean, if everything goes smoothly and there's no challenges or nothing, then that should be about it. But if there is complications from it or non-substantive issues or substantive issues that, could become more costly now, I think at that point, you can decide whether or not you want to continue the application.
So I think I don't have a problem with that. I just think we run into a lot of different projects and stuff, and you look at what our budget was. Let's get through the budget year. We end mid-year anyway. Let's put that in next year's budget, which is what, June, July, and look at it then, because we're talking a few months down the road, and we've got a lot of things we still need to do before the end of the year. And if we look at the budget and where we're at on it, every penny counts right now.
You've made a motion. Proceed. All right. Do I have a second?
Okay, so the motion is to do this right now or hold off until?
To take the next step it's an application.
Yeah, to authorize this trademark firm to go forward and submit the application, add a trademark on this.
Yeah, I think, HOAs have their logo trademarked. Everybody else seems to do that. It seems kind of, unprotected of us to not have ours trademarked, but that's my motion, at least the logo and the Elm Ridge.
I do have a question, Jonathan. Didn't we pay 1,000 already? So if we decide to delay, what do we do with that?
I mean, I think that if you delay, there is the slim chance that someone in the meantime would file an application that would not have come up in this search that they did. I mean, I think the argument's still there that you would still have the right to it because you've been using it before, but that would be the only real impact of delay in that, whatever search they did was up to a date, and if somebody submits something after that, then we wouldn't know about that when we submitted the application.
Could they force us to change our logo?
So if somebody files something that, for example, if someone tried to right now trademark Elm Ridge or the specific logo you have, you could challenge that and show that we've been using this prior use in shirts, in advertisements, in all of this since 2021 or 22, whatever that was. And so we have the prior use rights. And so therefore we want the right to do it and not, and they don't have the right. And so you would challenge it and go through that to maintain your right to it, and then you would have it. So I mean, unless they were using it before you, they could demonstrate that they used it in public and in marketing purposes and in the market, then they could have a right to it. But for your point, you can challenge that, and if you have prior use, then you would quit.
Not here in a second. Sorry. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes. Item 21, status of purchase contract with Bud and Flake.
Yes, sir. So I think this is the time we should go into closed session. If the board would like to, items 4, 11, 14, 21, and 22. We go into closed session under 551 and 71, 551 2, and 550.
I will make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
All right, is there a motion to come out of closed session?
I'll make a motion to come out of closed session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so on items, if I might, I'm sorry. I said already.
4 or 11?
So we got it. Okay, so the first one we went into closed session for was number 4. Thank you. No action on number 4. On number 11, no action on the business transfer on number 11. No action on the bank manager's report. We have the item specifically for the maintenance guy. No action on item 21. And then we will go to item number 22. The first motion would be to authorize Jennifer to extend the offer to the selected maintenance candidate.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Take over. The next motion would be to post the summary of the investigation, the personnel investigation that was performed and completed.
I'll make a motion to post a summary.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, and then the last motion would be to appoint Scott and Mike to interview potential forensic accountants to review the district's records.
I'll second that.
I can't make the motion.
I'll make the motion. Form a committee with Scott and Mike for an accountant.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. 23, future agenda items. Anything else that we haven't already talked about?
Grand opening of the building. Do we have a tentative date on that?
August.
August.
It's the first Saturday of August.
August. Okay. Cool.
I would like to talk about formally our no trip through truck sign at Magnolia and 1385.
Then I know Keith and I know about residents that are concerned about
Water storage. Future water capacity.
water in this environment and everything. And I think we talked about maybe getting a couple board members to meet with the Trinity to see what the plans were for the future. We can talk about that as well.
Okay.
Future water supply.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
General, no, how we want to.
With water, without water. So, yeah, processing, or why do we keep going into drought status when we're not in drought?
Out of curiosity, is that something we can, I think it's a monthly TCEQ meeting, is that something we can bring that up, consider in there? Or do we need to bring that up as an agenda item to discuss separately? Is it monthly they have those meetings?
They have the customer meetings in every quarter.
That's what I'm thinking about.
I can set you the board up with a meeting with Jason first.
Okay.
Relations tonight, with people we have, we need,
Oh, okay.
kind of discuss that. All right, next meeting, March 20th.
Schedule.
Well, we're meeting in March, right?
Mark, yes.
Yeah, we did skip March for the April conversation earlier.
Okay, so much to adjourn.
Now you got me on this.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's that.
Aye.
Sorry, I stole again your